Welcome back to the Accountability Hour, the podcast where we tackle double standards, self-improvement, and the messy realities of relationships. This is Lynn Watchhorn. Why do men hesitate to approach women? I'm seeing more and more videos on like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, being like, oh, why don't men approach women anymore? And then literally you'll scroll to the next video and it's a woman shaming a man for approaching her because he wasn't good looking enough, or he didn't do this, or he didn't do that, and it's baffling. Number one, the cost of getting it wrong is so much higher than the reward of getting it right these days. A lot of men, is that like that meme I saw the other day where it's like, why would he chase you so he can pay your bills? I mean, and not only that, but like, if he one misread of your body language, of the little hints you have, which women are really good at these things, he gets labeled instead of corrected, instead of like nicely telling him or, nicely saying you're not interested and walking away. He's often labeled as a creep or a predator. A creep? Oh my gosh. And not only that, but rejection is no longer just like, oh, you messed up with one woman you don't know, you'll never see or hear from her again. It's often public. She might have been filming the whole time without you knowing, and now it's on TikTok and it's trending and everyone's heard that, and it's awkward and it could change your life. You could lose your job. It's absolutely ridiculous. A lot of men are afraid to be nicely turned down, like, oh, I'm not interested, I have a boyfriend, whatever. They don't want to be humiliated for it. And we live in a time where men are expected to be confident no matter what, and he has to do that without making anybody feel uncomfortable. And while that's easy for some guys, I feel like the majority of men, that's not an easy task. Especially as more and more people have more hobbies that just keep them inside and they're not out being as social as they once were. I saw a video clip about how people are partying less and doing less social activities because it's too expensive. And a lot of people's hobbies are shifting to more like listening to podcasts, listening to videos, staying home, playing video games, stuff like that, where they're not doing as much social interaction. Often a lot of men don't get clear feedback on how they can improve. They only get the consequences. Silence doesn't teach him anything. And yes, I understand the argument a lot of women say where it's like, I gotta protect my safety, so they do sometimes go along with things they don't feel comfortable with in order to protect themselves. And I do respect that in some rare situations, because while the majority of men are good, you don't know if you're dealing with that tiny 1% of men that would actually harm you in that situation. But if it's over text or out in public and there's people around, you realistically can nicely turn him down and maybe throw in a pointer or two if you notice something very upfront about what could be causing him to get rejected constantly. And you can do this nicely, not in a rude, snotty way. And I do know a lot of guys out there will protect a man that they're dealing with and let him know if they notice anything, but sometimes in these situations, like, guy friends don't see other guy friends approaching women and they can't really correct their approach or give them pointers unless they're actually there, and they're usually not. So other men can only do so much to help with this. Also, a lot of men just don't want to be seen as intrusive. If you're having a coffee and reading a book or something and he approaches you, sometimes it's not super obvious that you're not interested, but he also doesn't want to interrupt your reading or your day in general. And men are expected to read subtle signals with zero margin for error. That's a lot of pressure when you think about it, especially because so many women are good at acting like they're okay. I have talked to so many men where they go out on a date and it's absolutely wonderful. They're so excited about this woman they're talking to and this woman they're going on dates with. And then what ends up happening is she ghosts him afterwards or cuts a lot of the contact back, and he's sitting there confused like, oh, the date went so good though, we had good conversations, but the reality is she might have been acting the entire time. I swear there's some women out there who deserve, I don't know, awards or movies deals or something because their acting is so good. And I'm not justifying or encouraging it, heck no, but it's just kind of baffling how a lot of women will complain on one front. It's like, oh, you need to be able to see my signal. If I glance over you for half a second, you need to know that I'm interested. But they're also really good at acting. What are you expecting from these men? Seriously. Also, for a lot of men, they're told, oh, just be confident. But in some situations or cases, his confidence has gotten him in trouble. He's considered arrogant or an a-hole or something like that. So it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, how can he be confident carefully enough. Also, a lot of men have quickly learned that having good intentions doesn't protect you from bad interpretations. And they know deep down that the impact that they have beats their intent every time. No one cares about the intent, they only care about the impact. And sometimes that's really hard on men and builds a lot of pressure because he may have the most positive, loving intentions for you, and then something slightly goes wrong and it's all screwed up at that point. Also, approaching has shifted from just being, flirting to potential offense. Men are now worried about potentially getting charges for harassment or any other thing just because a woman didn't like how he approached. False allegations are a very real thing in today's society, and it's very scary for a lot of men, and rightfully so. He would much rather just not have a girlfriend than potentially end up in jail because he approached the wrong woman at the wrong time. Also, a lot of men are being taught to doubt their own instincts overall because, partially because of all these videos we keep seeing that go back and forth. Oh, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. I'll see a video of a woman saying that they don't like to be approached, and then a woman saying she does like to be approached. One woman will be like, never approach a woman in the gym, and another woman being like, why don't men approach me at the gym? So a lot of men are second guessing their instincts. I actually saw a video on, I'm not going to say her page name, but she calls out men. That's basically her entire page. And she's not super popular, but you can tell by her video, she's a very bitter woman. But a man was asking a genuine question to her. You could tell it was coming from a place of good. He wanted to make sure he was treating his girlfriend right. And the way she reacted with so much judgment and hate was absolutely insane. Basically being like, oh, can't you see how she actually feels? It's so obvious. And then she spent the entire video venting about how horrible this man was and how he's just like every other guy and all these men just need to stop. But this woman in this situation, she didn't like what he was doing based on her behavior, I guess. But anytime he tried to check in with his girlfriend and be like, hey, are you okay with this? Do you like this? She would say, yeah, I do like it. I do like it when you touch me while I'm doing the dishes and stuff like that. But then her reaction and her body language showed that that's not actually the case. And how is that his fault when he genuinely asked her for honest input on that? That's her job then to be like, no, I don't really like it when you do that. Could you please stop? But again, even men in relationships are dealing with this, where they are doubting their own instincts. They don't know how to do things or what to do because it's not clear. Also, relationships are dangerous for men. That's never talked about. I've seen so many men who end up in relationships where they get financially destroyed or drained long term. They get used, they get harmed. They end up needing a lot of therapy afterwards because the relationship went so badly, and the things that they went through it's baffling, quite frankly. People always assume these types of things only happen to women, but it happens to men a lot more than you realize. And this can prevent men from potentially dating, because he knows he has to protect his assets and what he has. And then we see this common theme with a lot of videos being like, oh, well, why would I be a gold digger when you have no gold to dig, or whatever it is. And it's it's not about the dollar amount per se, it's about what he has. And a lot of women can financially destroy a man, and he knows that, so he has to protect himself. Also, a lot of men are told that attraction should just be natural, but it's also punished when it's expressed. And then also, he almost feels like he has to justify his attraction to you. And it's made it all complicated. He shouldn't have to explain himself when he's approaching you. And for a lot of men, they won't approach you because that's their way of showing ultimate respect. A lot of men aren't hesitating necessarily because they lack confidence. Some are, yeah. But for a lot of men, the social penalty for misreading her body language or the moment in general is very high. And the risk of the relationship not going well, or the dates, if he even gets to that point. Men didn't stop approaching because they're afraid of women. They just know the cost keeps going up every year if they don't get it perfectly right. And every woman's different. There's no one-size-all-fits method where he can just have a little checklist in his back pocket and be like, okay, I just follow these rules and it'll work out perfectly. It's not like that. And that's what makes men not want to approach.